Hello again, and welcome back to the Ocean Stewart Library. I hope that your summer reading is going well. So, right before I left for the Philippines a couple of weeks ago, I ventured over to our local Barnes and Noble to look for a book that would not only keep me occupied during the long flight out there, but also be a good one to review here on the Ocean Stewart Library. And I picked up Monarchs of the Sea, the extraordinary 500 million year history of cephalopods by Danna Staaf. Guess I was gearing up for some spotting some octopus and cuttlefish while out there in the Indo-Pacific. Monarchs of the Sea was published in 2017, and Danna Staaf is a PhD of invertebrate biology from Stanford University, where she studied cephalopods, and is the author of several books, along with writing for numerous scientific journals. Jet propelled and flight capable, iridescent and elastic. Squid are a true marvel of nature. They're fast. They swim twice as fast as an Olympic champion, shoot their tentacles out in less time than it takes you to blink, and alter their appearance at literally the speed of thought. They're flashy. Some grow luminous lures at the end of their arms. Others squirt self portrait in ink, and their skin creates any color from vivid red to iridescent blue. That's how Danna opens chapter 1, The World of the Head Footed. Cephalopod means head footed. Squid are incredibly important in sustaining ocean life. They are, as described in the book, swimming protein bars, consumed as a one prey fits all food source for marine predators of all sizes. But where did cephalopods come from? That is where we need to go back 500 million years and their evolution from the snails that crawled on the ocean floor. One of the challenges of studying their past is that, unlike other vertebrates in the ocean, they do not provide great fossils and provide paleontologists with much to work with. So, just how did these guys develop from the shell carrying mollusks to the jet propelled squid, octopus, and cuttlefish? As the Cambrian explosion of life happened due to the rise in oxygen levels in the atmosphere and the oceans, fish began to develop jaws, jaws that were strong enough to break the shells of these ancient cephalopods. The shells were heavy and made escaping their predators difficult. They began to lose the shell and start developing the propulsion that we know today, mantle pumping, filling up with water and squeezing it through their siphon. They also developed ink, which has been preserved in some rare fossils. The arrival of whales and their use of echolocation was yet another reason to lose the shell. Without a shell, it made them sort of invisible to the whale, actually, inaudible. Along the way, we are given the complete evolutionary picture, including how the family tree split into three branches: ammonoids, nautiloids, and colloids. The nautiloids and colloids survive to the present day, while the ammonoids have become extinct. Mass extinction caused by meteors and volcanoes. Volcanic activity like the Siberian eruption, which lasted 100,000 years. Die-offs due to global warming from the volcanoes, followed by a cooling period because of the fast-growing fern-like plant called azolla that gobbled up CO2, lowering the Earth's temperature. Shell evolution for squid, octopus, and cuttlefish is interesting. Squid have a small vestige of a shell called the pen, while cuttlefish have their cuttle bone. The octopus has no shell remnants, which is why they can squeeze into incredibly small places. If you're a scuba diver like me, you've probably seen them disappear into tiny cracks on the reef. I just witnessed that in the Philippines. As we make our way through the book, we track the evolution to today. And that is where I found the most interesting information as we go through the various species of squid and octopus, like the ram's horn squid living in the deep ocean and the vampire squid? Or how about the giant squid, pygmy squid, and pajama squid? And then there are the flamboyant cuttlefish, mimic coconut octopus, and the amazing wonderpuss. Finally, having never seen a nautilus in the wild, Dana does give us some interesting backstory on their sort of non evolution. They are described as a living fossil that are now finally on the endangered species list. The book wraps up with an epilogue. Where are they going? It would seem that back when the book was published, cephalopods were on the rise due to their live fast, die young strategy, driven by warmer water and loss of predators like bluefin tuna and sharks. But as we know, a lot has happened since 2017. Seems like a lifetime ago. But one thing for sure, as someone who has a fascination for life in the ocean, squid, octopus, and nautilus are certainly amazing creatures. So that's Monarchs of the Sea, the extraordinary 500 million year history of cephalopods by Danna Staaf. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you again soon here in the Ocean Stewart Library.